Let's take a look at the writing section for the CELPIP test. We'll break down the hardest areas, how to improve, and then we'll look at 2 mock examples. So follow along with me. Hey, I'm Scott from HZad Education. We cover all things related to the CELPIP test. So if you're about to take the test and you're getting ready, then check out our latest videos. Now the writing section comes third. It follows the listening, reading, then writing, and the last part is speaking. So by the time you enter the writing section, you might be tired. But if we learn the format, then you have a better chance at jumping right into it and focusing on how to get better marks. Those that achieve really high marks, like a 7, 8, or a 9, are doing a number of things. Of course, they have good grammar. That's a given. But we also need to have very precise vocabulary, a very logical organization of content, and we need to have a variety of sentence structures. Complex, compound, and even simple sentences. That shows that you can use the language accurately in many different ways. The main reason that marks are dropped is because people misinterpret the scenario. Understanding the prompt and answering the prompt correctly is hugely important. So that's step number 1. Now the second reason is because people are using inappropriate vocabulary or tone. So either you're being far too casual for a serious situation, or you're being far too formal for a semi-formal situation. So let's find out how to identify the tone of the message and then use vocabulary to match that. Let's take a look at the format of the writing section and how you're going to strategize, plan, and organize before you start writing. Let's take a look. Now the total time for the writing section is just shy of 1 hour. We're going to stay around the 55-minute mark so that we have additional time for proofreading. In task number 1, you're writing an email. It's super essential that you know how to format an email and that you actually answer the question provided in the prompt. But part number 2 is responding to a survey. This one is typically more formal because you are sending an email usually to the city council, the government, maybe to a local business as well. So we need to match the formality there. And you'll notice that we have more time for responding to a survey, part 2. Total questions are scored out of 12, so we're looking to get the best score possible. Task number 1, generally we're looking for a formal or semi-formal email. And again, we're going to look at the format for that. We should be writing 150 to 200 words for both sections. So what does 200 words look like? Well, I could show you an example. This sample piece is 178 words. You can see we have an opening, like dear in the subject line, an introduction paragraph, main points, and a conclusion, and then a sign-off. Next is responding to a survey question. Now the main thing here is that you can justify your choice. So first, you'll choose an option, then you'll justify it, and you'll give some examples as well. In the next section, you're going to compare the alternative choice. So we'll give a comparison statement like this blah blah blah, however that blah blah blah. So let's take a look at one format that is commonly used. This is called CER. Have you heard about it before? CER stands for Claim Evidence Reasoning, and it's going to be mostly important in section 2 where we have to justify our choice. So here what you can do is make a claim. For example, option number 1 is best because. Then you provide some evidence. It is best because of 1, 2, and 3. And then you give some reasoning, some background information. This will help to benefit. In addition, it will also satisfy the needs of. So if you're using CER, it'll help you, the test taker, to structure your essay, as well as make sure that you're matching all of the requirements in the prompt. So what are the examiners actually looking for when they're marking your written piece? Well, you definitely need to have content and be coherent. So your ideas need to answer the question provided in the prompt and have some logical flow. Vocabulary, like we talked about, is very important. So we want topic-specific vocab, and that's going to be done during the brainstorming section, which is only a quick 5 minutes maximum. Readability involves the organization of your paragraph. So does it have a logical flow? Does it have an introduction and a conclusion? And again, this will come in handy during our brainstorming process. Task fulfillment is about matching the tone. Remember I said most test takers lose mark because they are not matching the tone? So today we need to work on that. And finally, please make sure your grammar is all good and you have complex sentences as well as compound and simple relative clauses. Use a variety of them. So today we're going to be presented with a few questions, 2 questions. But I want you to think about how we are going to brainstorm. In topic number 1, we have only 2 to 5 minutes to brainstorm. This time you are allotting to yourself. It's not given during the exam. You have to plan accordingly. During that brainstorming section, I want you to be thinking about a few things. Vocabulary, write down some keywords that will help you. Think about your main idea. We're going to focus on the situation, the complaint, and the solution. This format will help you for all of the email sections. Topic 1, situation, complaint, and solution. Now you have 20 minutes to write, give or take. I highly recommend spending 5 minutes on the thesis. And you might think, why so much time on one sentence? Well, the thesis is the sentence that will outline your entire essay. So you can be sharing your opinion, your main complaint, and your solution in one sentence. So it'll be brief. This might sound like, I recently visited your hotel and I was appalled by the lack of services. I would like to follow up for a credit. And then you get into the depth of your email. So if you have this thesis down, then you'll always come back to it and remember. 10 minutes for body paragraph, main ideas, and 5 minutes for the conclusion. That gives you with an additional 2 to 5 minutes for proofreading, which you should really give yourself that time. Okay, section number 2 is when you have to respond to a survey question. So you'll be presented with 2 options, and you have to choose number A or letter A or B, and which one is the best. Now, quick tip, do not waste time on choosing the option that you morally agree with or the one you think is best. Just quickly decide on an answer and get started. You'll have a few minutes to brainstorm, which you'll have to plan for yourself, and then we'll follow a similar format. But in your thesis, you want to state your opinion, your option. So option A is the best reason because number 1 and number 2. Try to give 2 supporting ideas. Then in your body paragraph, it could be 1 large paragraph or 2 really small ones, so long as your grammar is suitable. So in the body paragraph, I want you to talk about the benefits of option A. Then you should have 1 or 2 sentences to talk about the drawbacks of option B. This will look like a contrasting sentence, so we can use transitional words. However, although, in contrast, on the other hand, these words will help us to demonstrate that we are changing the subject. 5 minutes for conclusion, and give yourself a few minutes to proofread. Okay, now we're ready to start doing the writing test. Today, I'll be using the HZad Education AI mock test platform, so you can follow along with me here. Pause the video after the question is presented, and give yourself the allotted time, about 25 to 30 minutes to write. Then come back to the video, check my answer, and we'll go through it together to see how this answer can get us some high marks and areas that we could improve on. Are you ready? Let's check it out. All right away, we should read the information, and we have 27 minutes. You recently went to a restaurant and were very disappointed in the level of customer service. Write an email, 200 words, include describe your situation, complain about the service, and suggest solutions to improve. Remember, we have that form, so we're going to describe the situation and improve. Now, I'm just going to give myself 2 or 3 minutes to write some brainstorming notes, including vocabulary, main ideas, and my solution. So let's take a look. All right, so I know that my main idea is going to be focusing on the slow service or bad customer service because that's a very common one. My solution is going to be training the staff members, and I have some vocabulary that should help me as I write my email. Disappointed, expectations, attentive, quality, polite, and potential. I feel like these kind of fit within the theme of customer service. Perhaps I could add more about customer service, like maybe utensils or menu or something like that, just to help identify that I can write about going to the restaurant. Now, because it is an email, we're going to format it like an email. We should have the subject and dear restaurant. You get the option to make up a name. So let's get started. You can write at home or follow along with me. Now, as I am the test taker, the very first thing that I'm going to do after I write the email is erase my notes. You do not want those to be left behind, so please do not forget. Now let's take a look at the email that I wrote. I'm quite satisfied. As I read through it, I'm also going to be checking for grammar mistakes, spelling, punctuation, etc., and also to see if the email reads smoothly. I'm guessing this is around 200 words, or maybe just shy of that, because I have two main paragraphs. My conclusion is slightly short, and my introduction is also slightly short, so it might be less. So let's read together. Dear Taco Taco Restaurant Manager, I recently visited Taco Taco on June 14th, and I regret to inform you that I was highly disappointed due to the poor level of customer service. So this acts as my thesis because I state my opinion, I was highly disappointed, and then the main reason why, due to customer service. Now, I recall Scott from HZad Education telling me that I should also implement part of the solution in my thesis. So I'm just going to quickly edit that. Due to the customer service, and I expect there to be future training for staff. Okay, I'm happy with that. Now I have a variety of different sentences. I also like that I have a lot of transitional words like finally, furthermore, in addition to, which was somewhere, first, and in addition. So that matches the tone. I am emailing a restaurant manager, so it should be quite formal. Upon my arrival, my party and I waited for more than 15 minutes before being greeted by your staff, despite it not being entirely busy. Okay, a nice complex sentence. Good. Many of your staff members simply failed to acknowledge us during this time. Good. Finally, we were seated. However, our assigned server repeatedly missed our table and did not seem attentive. Now, quick note, always aim to use the full version, did not, do not, was not, instead of the conjunction. It's just more formal and will match it highly. If you are looking for informal, then you can use the contraction didn't. Furthermore, good, we started off with a nice transitional. We're adding more to the point. We tried to be polite when requesting for basic items like utensils and menus, all to our surprise when they were not provided initially. Again, I'm having a lot of good vocabulary here, and that will help me to get some boosted marks. In the beginning, this paragraph, I'm talking about my complaint, the main issues. You can see I get into the fact that the server was not very fast, we waited a long time, and the servers failed to provide us with items. Those are my big complaints. Now we're going to get into the solution section. This level of customer service truly fell short of my expectations, which is a shame for such a famous restaurant. This is nice because it's a good English phrase, fell short of my expectations. Given the reviews presented on your page, I would like to offer some suggestions to improve your establishment. Good, we have very high-level vocabulary. We also have the suggestions. First, I recommend implementing additional training for your staff to emphasize the importance of customer relations and promptness. A key phrase like here, customer relations, although the vocabulary is not advanced, it still is very suitable for this topic. In addition to that, it would be beneficial to ensure there is adequate staff during peak hours, such as weekends or evenings. Please take these suggestions into account in order to improve the satisfaction of regulars. I don't feel like this is very clear, so I'm going to change that of regular customers. I feel like that could be misinterpreted, and so I wanted to add regular customers. Your restaurant has potential, and I would love to return once the adjustments have been made. Good, we have a nice present perfect sentence. Once the adjustments have been made. Sincerely, Tommy. So you can use your real name here. I don't think it matters very much. As well as the name of the restaurant, you get to make that up. Overall, I'm quite satisfied with this. The most important thing that I was looking for was the vocabulary used and identifying the real situation, which is presented in the prompt here, as well as providing a solution. So you can see the two main paragraphs are complaint, solution. The thesis helps me because as I was writing, I kind of looked back to my thesis and remembered I was talking about poor customer service. So it just is a guideline for your writing. The final section is necessary. We need to have a good conclusion. This is usually where you sign off and you tell them that you will be returning, or depending on the email, you might have to say, thank you for listening to my information. Okay, we mastered section 1. Let's get started on section 2. Section 2, 27 minutes. Your local municipality is thinking about 2 different projects for its local residents, an amusement park or a local theater. Choose the option that you prefer. Why do you prefer it? Explain the reasons for your choice. So here we're going with either option A, the amusement park, which will be open for families and have a playground and a water park. Already, that's generating some ideas, and you can use those ideas in your thesis. Option B, the local theater. It can hold several performances on a wide range of topics. Now, I'm not wasting any time. I'm going with option A. Also, I love water parks. Now remember here, we have to use persuasive language because you are trying to persuade the municipality to choose option A. So you want to use words like, I strongly agree, I support, it is in the best interest too, or this is the most wise decision. This is persuasive vocabulary. The second thing we need to remember is that we need to compare both options. It is not sufficient just to say why the amusement park is best. You cannot do that. You need to say the amusement park is best because. Option B is not good enough because. So we need to be acknowledging option B. This shows that you can logically argue one option and show the disadvantages of the other. Now let's get started with brainstorming. I already wasted time. So we're doing vocabulary, main ideas, and a thesis. Let's go. All right, I did a very brief description. Vocabulary, I have words like audience, entertainment, tourism, employment opportunities, local government. However, I like the word municipality, and economy. My main idea is that option A is better for families and tourism, and I put that into a thesis, which I will improve as I write. I'm going to use the persuasive vocabulary, I strongly agree. I strongly agree, blah, 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 option A, because now my two options or my two supporting reasons are community development and economy. This was already alluded to in the prompt, community development, but I'm thinking logically about the situation. a water park, a playground. This will all be good for the economy and job opportunities. So I'm going to add that in. In my paragraph after that, so body paragraph number 2, I'm definitely going to talk about why the local theater is just not sufficient because it doesn't serve purpose for a large range of people, mostly adults. Let's begin on the writing. You can pause the video and come back to it after you write your option. Let's go. All right, with just 14 minutes left to spare, I'm quite satisfied with this email. Once again, I'm going to erase all my brainstorming notes because we do not want that left behind. Now let's go through the essay. Now let's go through the article. So you can see I have my main thesis right at the top. I should have a space here. I have a body paragraph to talk about the benefits of the park, another paragraph to talk about the second benefits, and a final paragraph to talk about the drawbacks of the local theater. But in addition to the drawbacks, I also included one sentence up above that talks about the drawbacks. And this just helps to kind of integrate both option A and option B into everything. So let's look at my thesis. Dear local municipality, I'm writing to express the fact that I strongly support the construction of a new amusement park due to the fact that it will 1. Boost community development, and 2. Contribute to the local economy. So that's paragraph 1 and paragraph 2. Community development and local economy. That's why the thesis is so important. Let's get into body paragraph 1. Firstly, an amusement park would provide a safe place for families to gather and spend quality time together, which fosters positive relations among the community. All right, you'll note that in this paragraph, I use the word would a lot, and that's because we're talking about a future hypothetical, something that might happen. So it's a really key word to be using here. But I used some other vocab, like foster relationships, community, and more. It is idea. We need an L there. It is ideal for this neighborhood, which is lacking in recreational services and activities for young people. I don't love that sentence. It is ideal for this neighborhood, which is lacking Okay, I'm going to leave it because it's all right. Then I get into my contrast and I use that transitional word whereas. Whereas the theater would primarily cater to adults and those interested in the arts. Good enough. Next, I'll talk about the economy. Additionally, an amusement park would benefit the local economy as tourism will surge and businesses, and there we go. And businesses will thrive due to this. Restaurants and hotels will be rewarded by the new developments, and therefore it will increase their employment demand. New opportunities will be created, such as maintenance roles and ride operators in the park, hence aiding our community even further. Great complex sentence structures here and a lot of vocabulary. Economy, surge, thrive, development, employment demand, opportunities, maintenance roles, operator. I really focused heavily here, and I'm super satisfied with that paragraph. Next, we are using transitional words to get into the drawbacks. While a local theater might be interesting for some, its impacts would be limited compared to a park. And it simply does not compare for for economic benefits. Therefore, it is in the best interest of our municipal to invest in an amusement park in order to meet the community needs and provide long-term growth. So it's really only one sentence here that talks about the drawbacks of option B, and one sentence up here as well. In my opinion, that's sufficient. It shows that you are still analyzing both option A and option B. Thank you for listening to my concern, Tommy. All right, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I've erased all my brainstorming notes. I still have nearly 10 minutes to go. During the exam, this is where you perfect your email or your written essay. Go back, look for grammar mistakes, improve any section if you have time to spare. Now, the best part about using HZad Education's AI platform is that it gives me my feedback. And I got a CLB of 9. I am super satisfied with this. All right, and it tells me more things that I can do. It says I effectively addressed the ideas. However, transition ideas in task 2 could improve. Okay, good to know. Vocabulary, but I could incorporate more sophisticated vocabulary or idioms. Some grammar could be split into 2 sentences or use a semicolon. I didn't use any semicolons. And task fulfillment, they were addressed, though it could be expanded for depth. Okay, now we could even get a detailed analysis. So all of this really helps you to go back, improve your written structure, and I do recommend that you listen to the feedback, write this email and response again so that you're really benefiting on each test. So that's the writing section for the CELPIP test, given 2 mock examples, writing an email and responding to a survey. Make sure that you follow along for all of those, practice at home, and do take the test on the HZad platform because it gives you real feedback in real time. If you found this video helpful, please do help us out and give us a like and subscribe. It just boosts the algorithm so that we can keep making content every week. I'm Scott from HZad Education. It's a pleasure meeting you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.